Ladies, gentlemen, gamers, TikTok lovers, and fellow believers in the dark, dark dimension. Welcome back to episode number, I think, 29 of the Dark Dimension TikTok series, where we go over Dark Dimension TikToks that basically show us the world is fucked. And we want to smash the idea that people think this world is good, because the majority of it isn't. And we're here to prove that by showing everyone that hope, while important, shouldn't be foolish. And also a way to advertise my Twitch channel, Twitch TV Tecnics channel, where I play games every day. So, this episode is going to be a little bit different. I usually record these on Fridays. However, I was very busy today, and it's currently 2 a.m. So number one, I'm hoping this episode isn't that long. And number two, I have to be kind of quiet because there's people in my house that at 2 a.m. are sleeping. But regardless, we're going to try and get through a lot of TikToks here. I have my din din with me, which I'm finally going to eat, which is a Pop-Tart and a bagel. There's a fly flying around in my room, so I might start screaming if it touches me. And other than that, things are pretty normal. So, without further ado, let's get into it. But before we get into it, as always, we are, I believe, about a month behind, a little over a month behind, but this is around the time I started reducing the amount of things I sent myself. One, because I didn't really go on TikTok that much, and two, because I was like, I don't want to be forever behind. So this is where it's probably not going to happen this episode. But in the coming episodes, I'm actually probably going to get caught up depending on if I actually do this at a decent enough time to where I can record it for a while. Because I really hope this episode doesn't go over an hour. But, like I said, I believe we're going to actually start getting closer to the present. Now, even with that fact, I'm still not going to remember these because I have the memory of a walnut. So they will still, more than likely than not, be a first time for you, but a second, but kind of first time for me. So it's like we're experiencing it together. And obviously there's some memorable ones I remember, but I'll point those out when I see them. But anyway, I'm gonna play these and I'm gonna repeat 90% of what I say in all the other episodes, and we know the whole deal. You know, we've been through 28 of these, so let's check what's happening while I eat my bagel.
I read Disney CEO Bob Iger's autobiography, and here are some of the reasons why he is one of the greediest people of all time.
So one of the things that this made me realize, because I actually remembered a little bit, the more we go through these, the more I remember what I was thinking when I first saw it. Or maybe I'm just bullshitting and I actually just remembered something that never existed. But regardless, the idea I had with this, right? So this guy's obviously very greedy. He owns Disney. And you know what's so ironic about that? The Disney films that are made are very, very, like, I don't want to say progressive, mostly because I don't know what that word means, but they're very much towards, like, good, like, very good ideas towards, like, equality, towards things that are right. And meanwhile, the owner of Disney is, like, really fucked up, really probably selfish, greedy, like most rich people are, and, like, really bad. So it's ironic that, like, his company makes movies that are promoting, like, very good norms and values. Meanwhile, this guy's being, like, a douchebag, and he's, like, stealing people's money and probably being very corrupt, if not morally dubious. So let's see how and if he actually is being morally dubious and corrupt. Let's see.
Iger admits in the book that his favorite superhero of all time
Superman.
was Charles Foster Kane.
Oh, no.
Bob Iger openly admits to suing pretty much anybody. He even
In America, you can sue for anything.
sued recording artist Bon Iver for having consonants in his name in the same places that Bob Iger has consonants in his name.
Bruh.
Iger admitted on his biography that he one time suggested that voice actors for Disney be compensated in Disney coupons, like this one that says, "1 piece of new artwork by me." When Iger first joined the parks department at Disney,
So this guy obviously rose up. He wasn't one, with Disney from the beginning. He got transferred in, it looks like. And Jesus Christ, I mean, he probably made the money, but at what cost? Imagine playing your employees in coupons. That is some, like, sick, like, evil villain shit.
he
And again, these people, like, I don't know if he was joking or not. I hope he was joking, but historical references tell me he probably wasn't. And this is where, again, I'm gonna say a common thing I've said always: the rich are not living in the same world we are, and they do not think the same. They don't have the same values, and most of all, they don't care about us.
He said that concessions were losing money. So one of his recommendations was that they sprinkle the funnel cakes with that substance from that movie that Johnny Depp starred in order to get people addicted. As if funnel cakes aren't addicting enough. In the most illustrative form of greed, Iger gave all of his assistants and staff for their Christmas gift a signed copy of his book.
Bruh.
And then deducted the cost of the book from their paychecks.
At that point, I would only stay in that company just to have it on my resume that I worked for Disney. That has to be some of the most disrespectful shit ever. Hey, here's your Christmas gift, my book signed by me. Oh, but you have to pay for it, so it's not really a gift. What the hell? I like the title here, by the way. He's a greed-fueled monster. So, again, this is obviously showing that the rich people are freaking sick and deluded, and Disney's not safe either, even though their films are very much toward, like, being nice and being equal. That's not how you get rich in this world, and Bob Iger proved it. Very nice video. Next.
There's a senator from Alabama.
Yeah, Jeff Jackson!
Who disagrees with the military's policy on abortion, and the way he's chosen to react to that is something you should know.
So, we actually covered this in last episode a tad bit. This is where the military, a lot of like big heads in the military are basically retiring. And since they're retiring, we need new ones and we need to vote on it. And one guy's not getting his way. And when that happens nowadays, that person can basically stick up their side of the vote and nothing can go through. So there's actually, I think, fault here on many different levels. Number one, why is the system set up to where one person can basically like take hostage everyone else at almost gunpoint, where they can block an entire thing? Number one. Number two, this is the problem I have where it's like politics has now become, oh, I didn't get my way, or oh, like I want this and I didn't get it. I'm gonna bitch and moan and I have power and I'm like being a baby and I'm making it about me. Senators work for the people. They're supposed to represent us, not their own ideas. It's so stupid. And that's where I think a lot of them get it twisted. We vote them in, and obviously, as we saw from a previous episode, taking what we saw as true, once they're voted in, they go with the alliance, or they go with the vote of whoever pays them the most. Not what the people, common people, actually want. It's what the lobbyists want, obviously.
He has blocked the nomination of every single general and admiral in the military. That means the entire top leadership for our military is frozen. If there's a vacancy, it stays vacant. We're at 250 nominations blocked this year, and if he keeps it up, by the end of this year, we'll be at 650. The way this works is the Senate gets to confirm any new...
And I don't understand, right? Like, this person who's blocking it, I don't understand how they're not scared for their life, because the people, and again, I'm not advocating for violence here, but I don't understand how the people can see this and not see how this is corrupt and want to beat the living daylights out of this guy.
Any new general or admiral that's moving up into a new position. But if one senator objects, that process grinds to a halt, and it's really hard to work around it. He sees that as leverage, and he's using it. Last week, it became more serious. The head of the Marines retired, and the person who was supposed to replace him was blocked by the senator. So now the Marines don't have a confirmed leader for the first time in 100 years.
Amazing. So this is where America, and I've said this before, and I think a lot of people know it, we spend on a lot of things, we collect a lot of taxes. One thing we never skimp out on, one thing that will never be reduced in the budget, and if it is, I will either think, A, we got like a sleeper cell in our midst that's activating and like taking down America from the inside, or two, we've just become that stupid. They will never, in my belief, as long as they want to maintain world dominance, the United States will never decrease the spending budget for the military. There's no way in hell.
He's doing this because after Roe was overturned,
The fact that this guy is like sticking it up and putting that in jeopardy, this guy should be fucking put in jail for like martial like or for like treason. Like what this guy's doing is jeopardizing the country's like national strength in war.
The military was worried it was going to affect the recruitment of women who could be stationed in states that don't allow abortion. So they put in place a travel policy to accommodate service members if they needed to travel to get an abortion or in vitro or some other type of pregnancy care that the military doesn't offer. The military wasn't trying to be pro-abortion, it was trying to be pro-recruitment.
So this is where I think another big thing that I've heard is military recruitment is really bad right now. Number one, because again, the internet, the great equalizer of information, has shown people war sucks, and a lot of the reason we fight is for probably corrupt ass reasons. So number one, a lot of people just don't want to fight in the military. For some people, it's their last choice because patriotism in general has gone down in the country. And number two, a lot of people just are not physically fit to enter the military, so they really need to get all they can to where now they're allowing women, right? Women are equal to men, but now they're trying to jump over this hurdle to keep getting women because I really feel like they do need people. Like, who wants to go to the army with the way things are?
I've spoken to several members of Congress who strongly oppose abortion and oppose holding up these nominations in protest. I don't want you to think it's one whole party doing this. It's just one whole person.
And that's insane that that can happen.
Thing is, being in Congress is a whole lot of not being able to get what you want, even when you feel really strongly about it. Something you learn is that how you
being an adult
conduct yourself in that moment matters.
And this is where if you're a rich person, you think you could subvert this. And the sad part is, most rich people can. If you don't get what you want and you have enough money, you can get what you want.
Matters because everyone in Congress has been there and they're all watching. Do you go out and try to build more support for your position, or do you pitch a huge fit that does a bunch of collateral damage and just pushes people away?
See, like, what the senator is doing is so stupid because, again, he's harming our national defense, right? He's harming our military. We have no leaders coming in. And number two, like, he's making an enemy of everyone. I don't know how this guy can do this with a good conscience and sleep at night. Like, and this is where, again, the American people are sheep. But, bruh, if the American people weren't sheep, like, this guy should get shit, like, thrown at him publicly.
I've also been in the military for a long time, and something I've seen more than once is that hopeless strategies produce disastrous results. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs is retiring soon. After that is the head of the Army. Half of our Joint Chiefs will be vacant within the next few months. Add to that several hundred other.
And the fact that this guy's gonna do it for this long, and this is like allowed. I mean, he did say there were workarounds, but they're really hard to do. Why can't this guy get voted out?
Senior leaders who aren't in place, and there really could be a disaster. We have leaders for a reason. That's the latest.
Exactly, we have leaders for a reason. Even though the leaders aren't that good, at least something's going, nominally right.
I'll keep you posted.
Thank you as always, Jeff Jackson. But yeah, our entire army leadership is getting stuck up by a guy who got upset that he didn't get what he wanted. Insane. That's our government. If you do that in any other job, imagine what would happen to you. Anyway, let's keep going.
25% of the entire national debt was accrued under Donald Trump. And here's the graph that shows it. I mean, he just skyrocketed the federal deficit.
Let's take a look at that graph that's right behind you.
So here's an important video where obviously this guy's gonna now break down what this kid was saying. And again, that kid, a lot of people probably believed him. This guy's gonna break it down, and a lot of people are gonna probably believe this guy. But how do you know what's true? Because what if there's a third breakdown and then a fourth breakdown? At this point, you can't even trust the breakdowns. Because again, anyone with enough confidence and swagger, I think, can pull these off. This guy could be spouting complete bullshit, but the fact that like he's doing a review of another guy's video already gives him like credibility in some people's eyes. And this is where I always question, right? Or I always say like question everything. And how do we know what's true anymore? It's scary. Especially with AI. Like, I know it's been a minute since we've seen some AI stuff, at least from what I can remember. But like, bro, it's getting crazy. And I'm recording this on the 19th, right? 2 a.m. On the 19th of August, right? Imagine when this comes out, it's gonna be like September, October, or some shit. Imagine where our eyes are gonna be then. We might be taken over by Skynet at that point, honestly.
Notice how almost all of the debt incurred under Trump happens in one single year.
COVID.
Why is that? Why is that year so
COVID.
significant? Well, that year is 2020, and the COVID-19 pandemic started in January of 2020. Trump responded by signing
that time.
trillions of dollars worth of relief packages. In years previous to 2020, the debt hardly moves under Trump. But if you're mad at deficit rises, why don't we talk about Obama? I know you know him.
shit,
The national
Obama.
debt doubled under Obama, folded in half. When Barack Obama entered office, the national debt was $10 trillion. When he left office in 2016, the national debt was $19,573,450,000,000. Why aren't you
Disgusting.
complaining about that? Do you actually care about national debt?
No.
Or are you only concerned with complaining about Trump and other Republicans?
See, this is where, just to play devil's advocate, what if this guy actually was concerned about national debt, but he just didn't know that information?
My account was banned at 1.5 million followers. Make sure to hit that plus sign for more content just like this.
And also, I just realized this guy's name. I mean, it's pretty obvious who he supports. Students for Vivek. If you don't know, it's Vivek Ramaswamy. But, yeah, pretty good video. Obviously, now, on the internet, you can kind of disprove anyone. If you're right or if you're wrong, I think people will still believe you just off the fact that you're analyzing someone. It's crazy, man. It's crazy how stupid people are. Maybe that'll be the episode title for this one. People are stupid. It's a song, apparently. Let's go next.
Mr. Tenaglia.
Oh, yo, this is Katie Porter. So, as some of you might remember, Katie Porter's been on the show before. She fucking goes after these people. And the saddest part is, and I always say this, and it's something I struggle from, it's something we've seen before, it's something we can all notice. We're all talk, but what does it lead to? Katie Porter does great things, right? She calls them out in a very obvious way to where, like, they can't answer and they've obviously been caught being greedy. But again, people do nothing knowing that. So even though, like, it's been exposed, okay, it's been exposed, so what? At this point, I don't know if it's a case of just people becoming more subservient, if it's like the media slowly influencing us to be this way, to not question it, or if we're just stupid. I don't know what the reasoning is, but regardless of the reasoning, Katie Porter is probably going to eviscerate whoever's on stage here, or whoever's, like, in the hearing. But what's this going to change? Like, I'm all for, you know, publicly shaming them, but, like, come on. We got to get some actual, like, benefits out here.
Enablers for 300.
Pardon me?
Enablers for
Well,
300.
she
Enablers
has
for
this, like,
300.
Jeopardy.
Individuals who get rich while pushing to overspend our tax dollars.
Yes.
I don't know.
What do you expect
Who are
this guy to
defense
say?
lobbyists.
Oh.
Mr. Mansfield.
Waste for 200.
Also, similar to insider trading, I don't know how that's not banned. How the fuck is lobbying not banned? And I've said this before, but, like, bro, it's literally paying off a senator and buying them. I don't understand how this is allowed.
Waste for 200. I'm really counting on you here, Mr. Mansfield. A program that is $183 billion over budget and 10 years behind schedule.
Oh, just like every construction project in America.
Fighter program?
What is the what?
Is it the Joint Strike Fighter program?
What? That's correct. What is
Oh, wow, he knew. Yo, good points for him.
F-35 program? Correct. Mr. Khan.
They put the fucking Jeopardy
Missing guardrails
music.
for 200.
Missing
The
guardrails
fact
for
that she's
200.
doing this, it just looks so idiotic. It's so funny.
The institution that has authorized more defense spending than the president requested
Wow.
for the current fiscal year.
Overspending.
Who has authorized more defense spending than the president requested for this current 2023 fiscal year?
I wonder what the people behind
would say
Katie are
it's the,
thinking.
Armed Services Committee.
We'll give you that. Who is? Congress.
Whoa.
Mr. Tenaglia, I'd really love to see you get
She's taking subs of their own people.
that one right here. I'm rooting for you.
Missing guardrails for 100.
Missing guardrails for 100. This one
They're playing along is the funniest part.
I think you're going to know. A review that every agency has passed except the DOD.
Oh,
What is
the
it?
Department of
What is an
Defense.
audit? Correct.
Damn.
Mr.
And if you don't pass an audit in the United States, you get heavily fined, which at that point, you know, it's only a law for the poor, not for the rich. Or you go to jail.
Mansfield.
I will go with missing.
But yeah, obviously she's schooling them, but again, there's light here, but there's also dark dimension, because what does this change? These people don't care, and and by these people I mean the CEOs don't care. They'll do the little song and dance if they have to, and then the people don't care enough to change anything, and the government's paid off, so they're not going to do anything either. It's fucking sad. Next.
When McDonald's is the largest purchaser
Oh shit,
of
Mickey
ground beef
D's,
in the United
the guys who are making my fucking lunch once a week cost insane amounts.
States, and they want their hamburgers to taste everywhere exactly the same.
Yo, look at all those
They change how ground
cows.
beef is produced.
It's a shame they're all gonna die. I
The
thought that was
McDonald's
cow shit.
Corporation is the largest purchaser of potatoes and one of the largest purchasers of pork,
Oh wow.
chicken, tomatoes, lettuce.
Feels so bad
even
seeing
apples.
those farm animals, man.
These big fast food chains want big suppliers, and now there are essentially a handful of companies controlling our food system.
Jesus. Another monopoly happening. Surprise, surprise. Yo, we need a new FDR. We need trust busting. We need a Teddy, man. Teddy Roosevelt.
In the 1970s, the top 5 beef packers controlled only about 25% of the market. Today,
still kinda
the
a
top
lot.
4 control more than 80% of the market.
Bro, you know what's crazy? I actually eat Tyson.
You see the same thing happening now in pork.
Look at the pig.
Even if you don't eat at a fast food restaurant, you're now eating meat that's being produced by this system.
Not the system. Oh my god.
You look at the labels and you see farmer this, farmer that. It's really just 3 or 4 companies that are controlling the meat.
As always,
We've
as with
never
everything
had
else in the
food
world.
companies this big and this powerful in our history. Tyson, for example,
There's a lot of things that are happening the first time in our history.
the biggest meatpacking company in the history of the world. The industry changed the entire way that chicken are raised.
Wow.
Birds are now raised and slaughtered in half the time they were 50 years ago. But now they're twice
Technology.
as big. People like to eat white meat, so they redesigned the chicken to have large breasts.
Lol. You know what's ironic too? I just saw a video on TikTok of this lady complaining. She was from the UK. She came to America and she was like, "Why are the chicken breasts so big?" And she was making such a big deal out of it. Yo, as long as they're big and they're cheap, I don't give a fuck.
They not only changed the
That's
chicken,
what she said. Look at
they
the
changed the
chicks.
farmer. Today, chicken farmers no longer
Oh,
control their
no.
birds. A company like Tyson
Looks so
owns
fucked
the
up.
birds from the day they're dropped off until the day
It's
that they're
literally
slaughtered.
grabbing them.
Let me go to the top.
God.
National Chicken Council. The chicken industry has
Hawk
really
Council
set
over
a
here.
model for the integration of production and processing and marketing
Look at
of
the Cock
products
Council.
that other industries are now following because they see that we've achieved tremendous economies.
Yeah, and I bet you don't see
When
how they
McDonald's
do it.
is the largest purchaser
So yeah,
of ground beef.
I didn't mean to like that. Fuck. So yeah, this is where I thought they were gonna go more about the potato, but I think that might have been a previous video. But yeah, as we can see, McDonald's is furthering our farm shit, our animal livestock things. And obviously, they are selectively breeding, if not doing hormones on the animals, if that wasn't obvious. Now, listen, I know it's all the big corporations doing the majority of everything. And this is where, like, one of the biggest sinks of US, like, in terms of, I believe, methane gas, and just in terms of resource consumption, actually does go to animals, believe it or not. It takes a lot to feed these beasts. But anyway, yeah, so it shows McDonald's is just furthering the issue, and McDonald's is evil. All these companies are evil. Let's actually type that in. All companies are evil. Let me get myself more on a watch list. Okay, let's keep her going.
This is what decades of inflation and taxes does to your salary in Texas.
Oh,
Median income
everything's better in Texas.
$67,300. 20 years ago, that number was $40,100.
And again, I have to just bring it up again. How do we know this is true? This is some random guy that, his channel name is The Next Gen Business. It sounds official. I don't think it is. But he obviously has some traction with the likes and stuff, so I don't know who to believe anymore. Excuse me. It does say a disclaimer at the bottom, though. Due to inconsistent data, exact data from 20 and 50 years ago weren't used. Oh, so it's another lie.
And
Cool.
50 years ago was 7,500. That's an increase of over 790%. When adjusted for inflation, real wages increased by just 12%. Based on those salaries, in the past 20 years, federal income taxes on average earners decreased from 20 to 18%. When it comes to rent, in 1970, median rent was $95 a month, the equivalent of $802 a month in today's dollars. Today, it's $1,305 a month. Trying to buy.
I remember, and I've showed it for a couple episodes now. In the Bronx, to get a 1-bedroom, I think the average is like 2,300. Like, people can't afford off minimum. It always makes me question, what does minimum mean at this point? It doesn't mean shit.
A home in Texas. In 1970, a typical home was $12,000. Now it's $243,600. Adjusting for inflation, that's an increase of over 130%. In 1970, a typical monthly mortgage payment was $65. Now it's $1,312. Meaning in 50 years, real wages in Texas increased by just 12%. Inflation-adjusted rent increased by 62%. And the price of a home jumped 133%.
Oh my god. Dude, my generation's never gonna be able to buy a house.
Texas is spot just under California so far. With rent, home prices, and mortgage payments significantly
literally almost everything, because we know they're never gonna lower medical costs.
Outpacing inflation since the 70s. This is what
insane. Oh yeah, nice video. Just kind of showing us what we already know.
Frank Selak, known as the luckiest unlucky man that has lived, seemed to have a superpower of surviving everything life and death threw at him.
Jesus.
In January 1962, Frank boarded a train that was suddenly derailed. The train plunged into an icy river.
I don't know why, but whenever I hear like tragic stuff happen, I just think of Trick 2G saying unlucky.
While 17 other passengers drowned, Frank survived the fall and swam ashore with a broken arm and hypothermia.
Oh my god.
A year later, while on his first and only plane ride flying from Zagreb to Rijeka, the back door blasted open.
It can't be his only plane ride, unless they're talking about like future tense, they know what happens, but or if this is a flashback even to them, but like, bruh, how the fuck does this shit happen? He needed to go back on the plane, so it couldn't have been his last one.
Open, sucking everyone into the sky, killing 19 people. Amazingly, Frank landed on a haystack with only minor scratches.
Imagine
4 years later, Frank boarded a transport bus. The bus skidded and plunged into a river, sinking all the way down. Yet again, Frank survived the fall and swam to the surface, then to the shore with a few cuts and bruises. In 1970,
oh my god, there's more?
Frank was driving his car when an engine failure ignited the fuel tank, bursting the car into flames.
Oh my god, what was that sound effect?
Frank jumped out of the vehicle just before it exploded. A few years later, the same thing happened with his new car. While his hair was completely singed, Frank otherwise exited the vehicle safely. In 1995, he was hit by a city bus and then
yo, that's a big lawsuit right there.
And again by a truck.
What the fuck? Back to back? Yo, I'm starting to think this guy is like freaking Ivan, or was Ivan the Terrible? No, it was Rasputin, I think. Like, bro, they can't kill this guy. I think this is honestly a hit job, and they keep doing it, and they're just failing.
He survived that freak accident, too.
Bruh.
In 1996, he was involved in a head-on collision on a mountain curve.
Wow.
Frank was not wearing a seatbelt and was
oh, my fucking Frank. Look at his car!
Ejected out of the car.
Wait, so him not wearing the seatbelt actually saved his life?
Clinging to a tree branch as he watched his vehicle fall 300 feet. 2 days after his 73rd birthday, Frank won the lottery for $1.1 million.
Oh my god. I really hope, and I don't think this is the case, but remember, there's like a couple categories I mixed people into. One of them is just stupid. One of them is like greedy and knowing, but I guess lazy. I don't basically say what I'm saying here. I don't think Frank is that smart, but I also don't think he's dumb to where I don't think he'll get corrupted because he's, I hope, been brought up to like be poor, because he kind of looks poor.
At the time,
no offense to him,
of his win, he also married for the 5th time.
Oh my god, okay, so he's unlucky with even marriage.
Frank Selak, known as...
Yo, fucking Frank Selak. Anyway, that was more just for comedic purposes to lighten everyone's mood, and to try and wake me up because it's almost 3 a.m. and I'm falling asleep.
Europe is on fire right now.
Amazing!
Thousands of tourists have been forced to evacuate their...
To give you guys a little spoiler alert, I don't even know if I like send myself a video of this, but there's also like stuff happening in Maui with I think a volcano exploding.
Holiday home.
And I fully expect the what is it called? Not Puerto Rico. What am I saying? Oh my god, my brain isn't working right now. But I fully expect Hawaii, the Hawaiians. I fully expect the Hawaiians to start doing human sacrifices.
After wildfires broke out in Greece, Spain, Turkey, and Switzerland due to the scorching heat. In Greece, mass evacuations were carried out yesterday after a blaze ripped
Greece sucks.
through holiday homes in the village of Kuvras.
Yo, fuck the holiday homes. Those are for the rich assholes who don't use the homes for the majority of the year. Meanwhile, there's homeless people.
Horse owners near Athens had to abandon their
Yo, look at their horse!
stables as a fire burnt them to the ground. In Switzerland, more than 200 firefighters battled flames through the night, which forced the evacuation of multiple villages. And then similar situations also unfolded in Spain and Turkey. And if the current heat wave wasn't bloody enough, temperatures are set to soar even higher today as a second cyclone hit the continent yesterday.
Bruh, Mother Nature's really fighting back.
Called Charon. We're doomed. To be fair, Charon in Greek mythology is the ferryman of the
Charon, okay.
dead to the underworld.
Yeah. So a lot of people think that like Hades is the one who comes get you in Greek mythos. It's actually not Hades. So Hades just presides over hell. In Greek mythos, Charon ferries your soul there. Thanatos comes to get your soul if you don't want to go. And I forgot who else is down there, but it's definitely, Hades is definitely one of them.
Our Charon still works. If temperature records are going to be broken, it's most likely to be today or tomorrow. So of course,
I believe it actually did break records.
I'll keep you updated on what happens.
Oh yes, thank you, Dylan Page. But yeah, so if you didn't believe the Dark Dimension was dark enough with just people, now Mother Nature's fighting us back. Whoop-de-doo. Let's go next.
Fun fact, Henry Ford once wanted to take Ford's massive profits and reinvest them
we talked about Ford before.
into the Ford Motor Company by raising employee wages and building cheaper cars.
No way.
He was sued by Ford Motors stockholders who claimed a corporation's sole purpose is to generate profit for the stockholders and not improve the lives of the workers or public.
And that's so sad that that's like what the idea is.
In 1918, Ford was sitting on $60 million in profit.
What is
Henry
that
Ford's
today?
idea was to give each worker a massive wage increase, as well as lowering the cost of new vehicles, rather than distributing the money among stockholders.
So this is where, and I've heard this be said before, but it really is true. Once your workers cannot buy your product, once the people who like make it cannot buy it, that's a telltale sign the company is like going down under. Not in Australia though.
Ford was sued by John and Horace Dodge, who were minority stockholders in Ford and also owned the Dodge Motor Company. The lawsuit made its way to the Michigan State Supreme Court, where Ford lost, and it was ruled the surplus profits must be paid out to the stockholders.
So again, another example of the government literally forcing them to be like, I wouldn't say it's corrupt, but it's definitely morally dubious.
Rather than be distributed among the workers. A quote from the judges:
The fact that you can go to court and actively make someone do something with their own private business that isn't necessarily hurting anyone is insane to me, like hurting them physically.
Decision read, a business corporation is organized and carried on primarily for the profit of the stockholders. The powers of the corporation's directors should be used for the purpose of profiting the stockholders and not for other purposes.
Yeah, and they don't even have like the respect to say for like the other specific purposes. They just broad-ended it. Oh, other purposes. Like, no, our stuff is more important than anything else. Yeah, fucking right. Craziness. Next.
The mother...
Oh shit, Ron Perlman. So I'm actually gonna do something a little different. Like I said before, I didn't want this to go on long, and it's only been half an hour, and I know we barely got through anything, but you know, maybe people like shorter form content. Usually these are 2 hours, 1.5, 2, give or take. And you know, I want to give the people what they want. So if people like shorter episodes, I'll definitely do that too. But anyway, as sad as it is, this is where we're gonna leave off. So, how many stories did we get to? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you can see I'm sending myself like 1 TikTok a day. 9. Okay, so we got through 9. Excuse me. And ironically enough, by only getting through those 9, we're caught up with today, which is insane. Alright, let's like this, and like I said to everyone else, this is a big ad for my YouTube channel. My Twitch channel, Twitch TV/Tecnics channel. Come over there and watch me live. Usually at night, but we'll see.